I need to fix this trunk rubber. Well, the rubber groove, which I started to do. And what came off it was this. So this is not even remotely a groove. I want it to look the same all the way down through. So I started spot welding that in. I bent that piece out. The other side's cut off. I'm getting ready to make the other side. It's very hard for me to cut a straight line with a shear. And I don't, or with an electric shear like this. I don't have a stomp shear. I don't have a fancy shear. I don't have the floor space to put one. So I just use a guide and my plasma cutter, which works well. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a new piece out and bend another piece of this other side, and bender. And I can do the, and get something fairly straight bent out. And then I can kind of pick away at welding one side and the other and let things cool, because I don't want to warp the top of all this stuff. So that's the next game. I'll make one cut here for a straight line. Apparently I don't have air on there yet. Now, I'll mark where I want to put these next ones, clamp it, pre-marked it. I'm gonna mark it a bit big because that cup takes a little bit of room as you're sliding it while you're guiding. I'll double check that one there too, just to make sure. Slide that back a bit. What did I need there? I need really 3/4 of an inch. That should be good. Anyway, if it's wrong, we'll cut another one. See what we got here. Should be good. All right, makes a nice straight piece. It isn't all distorted from the cutter. I need a 1/4 inch bend. So, pull this baby over to the bender. See, I think I didn't leave myself enough material here. It's very borderline, but it's not going to be rubbing. Two. Use this as an anvil here just a little bit. shouldn't really put this on my stretcher, but this other side, the other side went pretty good. I'll clamp this front part. Trunk lid on this thing's a guillotine. I need to tighten the springs in that. I need to also lower those hinges down a little more. So, and quite a really a pain in the ass, this. Get right down there and be honest. I mean, why in the hell they didn't stamp this? So, and we bring this front in. Kind of makes that little flare in there they originally had. What happens is when you bring this up, kind of to weld it, you actually push this up a little bit, which it needs. You get the two ends attached there and you kind of hike that up. Kind of not bad, not bad, not bad. We end up with a kind of a proper thing here when you get all said and done. It was definitely not even close before. I guess you could maybe glued the rubber down there and hope for the best and probably got away with it, but I don't know. I just thought I wanted to sort of fix it right. Plus it allows me to change this crown here just a little bit. Then unfortunately this one I'm going to have to weld some wire, I think, up through here to get the trunk gap right, because it's just, it's really, everything touches here. It's good here, and then there's not a hell of a lot I can do about it. So I either need to weld wire inside the trunk lid or weld wire in here. I mean, I don't really want to use that with fill, because you know, if it gets hit, you got a big old gouge. So we'll shape steel to fit. And I will have to do a little finish work up here anyway. When I do the trunk lid, I think I'll probably work the edge of the trunk lid a little bit to get it to sort of match this, and then fix the crown with fill, do all that. Anyway, I guess get ahead of myself. I'm just trying to get ahead of myself a little bit so I plan my next move a little, so I don't end up like that 52 where they just did a whole bunch of stuff, not figuring how they were going to get to the next step. But on the other hand, I don't want to get so far ahead of myself. I'm screwing myself up here, so always kind of one of those things. You try and hit that place where you think far enough ahead to help yourself, and not so far ahead you get yourself in a wad, because at a certain point you just got to start and do, and sort of let the chips fall. And then if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, cut it off and redo it. Do something that does work, because it ain't always going to be a home run. And that satin coat metal stinks. It smells like cat urine when you weld it. I just keep spotting. Try and get that stuff in there. Not metal. This thing just plain wasn't bent right. I mean, at all. And really what I need to do, I need to work this metal back here just a little bit and get that shaped in a little bit better before I get this tacked, because it doesn't bend, nothing bends sharp on these. This is bent like kind of a 30 degree instead of a not, wow, whatever. Okay, so this back here is not too bad. Up here, I've still got to push that back. It's actually doing a little bit of what I want when I do that. So I'll make a couple welds in here, and I'll keep working it as I go. Otherwise, this gap's going to be too narrow to get the rubber in again. I suppose time to see if I'm doing good or doing bad. At least now it looks something like what it's supposed to. Oh, it worked. The old Nomar hammer does it every time. Well, I think we'll weld this up. And we'll take the Nomar hammer and we'll kind of beat some of that stuff into shape. Beating along under here, it brought that up and that fits the trunklet very nice now. And with this extra ridge, it holds. I'll hold both sides. I think we'll work both sides. What it did, hump her up. Feels alright though. We'll have to. Yes, sir. It'd be nice if that actually fit the trunk lid. That trunk lid goes up in the air. And this thing laying flat looks like crap. The hood fit that way too. We just stepped on the hood and fixed it, so. I don't know if these things are made this bad, I'm not sure. Or this one, something's happened. I mean, none of the hinges are stock. I don't see any bends in the trunk lid. I didn't see any bends in the hood for that matter. But, and the hood's straight and hard as hell too. That hood is rugged. It's actually the toughest part of the car, I think. So, anyway, I'll work through it here. Get her done and see what we got. There, she's done. That part's done. Now, we're going to delicately get out the Nomar hammer and make some adjustments. Or at least ways that's currently the plan. Let's see. This side I already beat up with a hammer. It's pretty good. This side is a little flat. What I'm doing, I'm hitting right up under that. Oh! They've gone just a touch too much. Look at that. It fits. Oh my God. So I need to just, God, it ain't even that bad now. I may just, well, I don't know. What? Anyway, I'll figure it out. Just a little bit left to do here. Get this gap where I want it. It's close. Maybe some people, shit. I don't know what I want to do. I'll figure it out. You may ask yourself, I may ask myself, Todd, would you buy those quarters again? I would. I know they look like a pain in the ass. I completely understand why somebody might think I'm nuts. But I can tell you it's a hell of a lot easier to deal with than what was on here. Way easier. And the big stuff is very decent. I don't think we're going to have a shitload of body work to do. So it's going to be a car without a bunch of fill. It's going to be a pretty decent rig. Where I'm having to work is down in you know, not that necessary a place. Really, I've never put a quarter panel on where I didn't have a little something to do. So, I mean, these are, they're a little more poorly stamped than a lot of them I use, but still, they're stamped well enough where it's important to make it worth using. And I remember the days when all you could get was those shitty patch panels. And let me tell you something, I'd way rather do this. You get those little half patch panels that didn't fit worth a shit either, and they just suck. I mean, this is all right. This will work. Car will present itself very well. It's technically not a show car. It's never going to live in a trailer and get hauled around just to be pretty. It's going to get driven. It will get driven hard. I think it's going to turn out to be a very nice car, so it may be a little nicer than he wants to drive hard, but I guarantee he's going to drive it hard anyway. If he doesn't, I will. So it's going to get to, it'll have a few hot suppers, and we're just going to, I'm pleased though. I think it'll look better than a car that is going to get treated the way it's going to get treated probably, which is all right. Well, this is what we're dealing with. You see that line down there and the line up here. It really doesn't show anywhere near as bad on camera as it shows in person. So what I did was I took this piece of aluminum, made a feeler gauge. If you close the trunk lid down good and solid, you're going to run this in here back where I like the gap, and I keep working forward. When you get towards the front and you're holding that straight, you see that gap down the side. It's like this angle is like this. So we need to get a piece of wire in there and get that vertical, or get it where it looks vertical. So we'll take this piece of TIG wire, we'll weld this along the edge here, and then we're going to grind it until that feeler gauge fits the same all the way down through. And that'll give us a nice trunk gap. That should be the end of the major fitting on these quarter panels. There's the finished product. And you can see a little edge there. I did not grind that as flat as you'll see some guys grind it. It does not insult me one little bit to have a bit of fill there. I'd rather do that than thin that metal down to nothing. Because if you grind that edge right in, you're compromising the metal on this side. And I'm just not willing to do that. And the little teeny bit of fill it's going to take to bring that in is nothing. It's all nice and straight. I didn't warp it. There's a one little, right there in the corner, I feel just a very slight little, nothing that's an issue. But I kept putting air to it the whole time I welded it. I'm quite happy with that. It's got a lot better look now than it did. I mean, the fit was terrible. The trunk lid was much higher than the quarter panel originally. Now that's the same. It was higher like in the center in here. The trunk lid had a crown that was different from the quarter panel. Same as on the other side, had the same thing. It's all good now. So I'm happy with that. This side has a nice gap everywhere. So that's all good. So I believe, other than I have to change this lower rail down here when it comes in. And there's probably a little something to do in here, which I'm not going to get involved in that. You see there's a crack there. I'm not going to get involved in that until I change this rail and see how that all attaches in here and everything. Because I don't want to start something now that's going to dig the hole for me later. So same thing on both sides, the same exact issue. So not exactly sure what the deal is with that. Not exactly sure how this piece is made. So we'll worry about that when it gets here. Other than that, I think we got her.